So we will officially call this meeting to order. Tonight, we will start our meeting with an invocation by Mr. Tim Weisshire, who is not currently in the room. If he's not, we'll ask Tom Ott to come up and pray for us. Tom? Because you're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, too, right after that. Miss Abigail Rucker will sing our national anthem. She's a student from Celebration High School. Our mission statement tonight will be read by Mr. Scott Clark, the Director of Media and Technology, and our translation services will be provided by Nadia Alvira. Close enough?
Yes.
I'm always asking Kelvin for confirmation that I've said that correctly.
She'll be okay with that.
So, since he's not in the room, would anybody like to pray for us tonight that's in the audience? Anybody? Mr. Belvin? Come on. We'll do that. If you'd all please stand.
Let's pray together. Father, our Lord, we come to you tonight, Lord, committing ourselves to your service, to our community, Lord. May you grant to these people that endeavor to represent you well in the community great favor in their sight, Lord. May you bless our students, protect them, Lord, walk with them, guide them. Help us all to encourage each other, to walk with each other, uphold the commitments that we have made to our community. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Melvin. Mr. Ott?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Ms. Rucker?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, through the ramparts we marched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the guns bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Mr. Clark?
Our school district mission statement is inspiring all learners to reach their highest potential as responsible, productive citizens.
Thank you. You may be seated.
I am Naira Alvira, and I am here to provide interpretation services. Yo soy Naira Alvira y estoy aquí para proveer servicio de interpretación al español.
Gracias.
Yes, you did.
All right, we'll have our comments from the board, like we start every meeting with. This time I'll start this way, Mr. Weisshire.
I'm good. Thank
Good.
you. Oh,
Mr.
no.
Oh, okay.
I have one. I had.
We skipped you on the prayer, I hope you know. Mr. Melvin filled in for you.
I apologize. I was on a phone call. So I always have these great opportunities to visit schools. It's one of the fun things that I get to do and one of the rewarding parts of being a school board member. And today I was at two different schools, and I met this cute little second grader, and she said, I drew you a picture, and she handed this to me. And I thought, well, what a cute little picture. And I said, I'm going to make sure that I bring this to the school board meeting tonight and show everybody just how talented Isabella is so that you guys can all ooh and ah over her amazing drawing. And she can feel proud that this was from Michigan Avenue Elementary. So
awesome.
Good job, Isabella.
Looks a lot like you.
Yeah, it does. It's the hair. It's the hair.
And the pink pants.
I'll wear pink pants.
Yeah. Mr. Thacker?
Nothing.
After Pink Pants?
No, I'm tapping out.
Mr. Soto?
I was going to say nothing, but really bravo to Miss Rutledge. I just enjoyed that performance a lot. It's great.
Miss Rucker.
Rucker?
Rucker.
Miss Rucker.
And I don't know if Abigail's still here, and we're probably not supposed to do that, but that was one of my favorite ones.
It was
That was
lovely.
awesome.
Inspirational. Came at the right time.
Yep. Mr. Wheeler?
I'm going to take a moment to recognize a group that doesn't usually get recognized, our purchasing department. Today, on very short notice, I asked to see some documents, and Cheryl Jesse scrambled, got everything. They do a great job over there. I just want to thank them for their professionalism, for what they do. And I need to recognize, I see Mr. Gilbert in back, I need to recognize the Celebration High School boys soccer team. They had a great season. They were on their way. They made it to the Final Four, and they lost to a very good Miami Beach team this past weekend. But these boys are something special, and they're going to be good again next year, and I'm very proud of our Storm boys. And also our Storm girls cheerleading team is the state champion. So my hat's off to Storm cheerleading and to their coach, Christy Boone. Thank you for what you do. Mr. Gilbert, please make sure that they know I recognize them. That's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Superintendent Pace?
Board members and community, I just wanted to share with you and highlight a sheet that you see at your side today. As you know, as a part of Goal 3 fiscal responsibility, we are exploring alternative revenue sources. And over the course of 2017, our rebate program for our payment cards has generated $325,681.11 dollars and cents. So very, very excited. And remember, we just started that about midway through the year. So pleased with our finance and accounting department, Cindy Stevens and her group, for thinking about this and carrying it out and generating these additional dollars.
That's great. Thank you, Dr. Pace. Thank you, Sarah. All right. We will move on to our presentations. Tonight we have the adoption of the proclamation for Scholastic Journalism Week. Dr. Reinhardt.
Thank you, board members. Dr. Pace. February 18th through the 24th is designated as Scholastic Journalism Week. The theme this year is student voice, student choice, and promoting student-free press as an open forum for free expression run by the students for the students. We have several teacher sponsors and students here to read the proclamation, so I just want to introduce Ms. Laura Fry from St. Cloud High School. She kind of got this whole initiative going. She's going to come up and introduce everyone.
Somebody started that clap. I think it was Nate. Go Bulldogs, Nate.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I call the students to read the proclamation, I want to congratulate all of you because we're making history today. I've been here in the district since 1994, and this is the first time, and it's an honor to share this moment with all of you. This has been a collaboration among different schools in the county. We have here representing Celebration High School, our advisor, Amanda Jacobs. We have OXA, representing our advisor is Brian Capley. We have Point Siena High School, and the advisor is James Ellis. And you're going to hear some of our students, actually some of our editors-in-chief, read the proclamation today. And I really want to thank you for the opportunity that you've given us and your support in this endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Okay, I'm Bailey Britt from Celebration. Whereas scholastic journalism has been a part of high school curriculum for decades, and whereas the goal of scholastic journalism programs across the nation is enable to young people to learn and practice the rights and to obtain the ability to express and exchange ideas, which is essential to a democracy by writing, editing, and producing student publications
Whereas research has shown that students who are trained and practice journalism have a higher achievement level on standardized tests and college English classes, and
whereas scholastic journalists have been guided in the practice of journalism under the Florida Scholastic Press Association and Journalism Education Association, and
whereas February 18th to the 24th has been designed Scholastic Journalism Week throughout the United States, now therefore be it resolved that I, Brianna Mahadio, and the Osceola County School Board do hereby proclaim that February 18th to the 24th is Scholastic Journalism Week in Osceola County, Florida. And I would like to congratulate the student journalists at the Point newspaper at Point Siena High School, the Aftermath paper at Celebration High School, Jake's Journal at Osceola High School, and the Oxo Ledger newspaper at Oxa. The Cloud newspaper is our newspaper at St. Cloud High School as well, and I would like to thank everyone for their work on behalf of Scholastic Journalism and their advisors. Thank you.
Great job. To approve. We have a motion by Mr. Weisauer, second by Mr. Thacker. Board, any discussion?
I've got a comment.
Please.
Just to the students that were up here and the other students involved in journalism, I kind of applaud you because I sit here and listen to this proclamation today, and I look at what's going on in the world with the news. I'm assuming that people who do this and learn to write and learn to do stories and listen to people would become very objective thinkers and realize that when they see things from their own mind, do a little research and figure out what's true. So I see this as having a very big side benefit as well as just the writing portion too for critical thinking. So thank you all very much.
Yep, thank you. Any further discussion, board? All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up, we have our adoption of the proclamation for Digital Learning Day. That'll be Scott Clark, Director of Media and Technology.
Thank you, Board, for this opportunity tonight. I have a couple students that are coming from St. Cloud High School also. It is Meridian Jones and Audrey Andrews. They are part of what is called the iTech team that they have there at St. Cloud High School. They're student co-chairs for the 2018-19 school year of this committee, and they are going to read the introduction and proclamation for you, and they're using digital technology to read it from that. So I'm going to invite those ladies to come on up and present.
Good afternoon. Help us make a difference in the future of education by pledging your support February 22nd, 2018 for Digital Learning Day. In today's interconnected world, the way students learn is increasingly reliant on digital technologies. This doesn't just mean having the newest resources and gadgets. It means fully engaging technology learning throughout the entire educational experience in order to fully prepare students for success in college and a career. Students and libraries everywhere need to embrace digital learning. We can't prepare every child for the digital future without your support. Help us build the wave of innovation by supporting Digital Learning Day and ensuring every child has the opportunity to learn in an innovative digital environment.
Proclamation. Whereas Digital Learning Day promotes the effective use of technology to fully prepare students for success in college and career. And whereas all students should have the opportunity to learn in a robust, innovative, digital environment. And whereas all students must be prepared to be responsible digital citizens in a global society. And therefore, we, the School Board of Osceola County, Florida, do hereby proclaim February 22nd, 2018 as Digital Learning Day in Osceola County and recognize the efforts of classroom teachers, administrators, parents, and community partners to provide students with digital learning opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to approve.
You got a motion to approve by Mr. Weisauer, the second by Mr. Thacker. Board, any discussion?
Well done, ladies.
Thank you, guys. Seeing no further discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, guys. And it's an honor to highlight those two, scholastic journalism and digital learning. So thank you all for being here. Nate, you don't have to leave. You can stay for the whole meeting. So we will, I guess, turn it over to Dr. Pace now for our appointments and transfers.
Thank you, Chairperson Booth. If I could
Chairman's
call
fine. I'm
Chairman.
okay.
If I could please call Mr. Edward Parker up to the podium. Board, it is my pleasure tonight to recommend for your consideration Mr. Edward Parker to become our Director of Purchasing. During his career, he's held the following positions: Procurement Officer for the Kansas Department of Social and Rehabilitation Services, Director of Contracts and Procurement for the City of Topeka, Director of Purchasing for the Missouri School District in Kansas City, Purchasing for the Board of County Commissioners in St. Lucie, Director of Purchasing, Warehousing, and Reprographics for the Martin County School District, Purchasing Manager for Florida Virtual School, and currently serves as a Director of Purchasing and Warehouse Services for the Brevard County School District. He received his bachelor's degree in business administration from Washburn University in Kansas, and I am confident he's going to be an asset to our team.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion to approve by Mr. Weissauer, second by Mr. Wheeler. Board, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries 5-0. Welcome.
Thank you. I just want to say thanks to Dr. Pace, Board, and Ms. Graber for this opportunity to serve the students here at Osceola County. And then also I want to introduce my wife and daughter, my wife of 37 years, Dawn Parker, and my youngest daughter, Aubrey. She currently works for Orange County Public Schools. So we just want to say thank you, and what a great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here.
And we would happily make it a family affair for the Parkers to work with the Osceola County School District.
I was just thinking.
In my
They were
mind.
building a wall at the Brevard County line.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Chairman Booth, I also have for your consideration tonight, she's unable to be with us, but for the assistant principal at the Osceola Technical College Poinciana campus, I'm pleased to recommend Ms. Karen Combs. During her career, Ms. Combs has held the following positions: teacher at Shiloh Christian School in Arkansas, teacher for Fayetteville Public Schools, teacher at George Washington Community School, assistant principal at Northside Middle School, principal at Glen Acres Elementary School, assistant superintendent for Lafayette School Corporation, and principal of Edgeley Elementary currently in the state of Indiana. She received her bachelor's degree in elementary education from John Brown University, a master's degree in educational administration from the University of Arkansas. She and her family are relocating to our area, and we are very excited that Ms. Combs will be able to join us later this month.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Weissauer for approval, second by Mr. Wheeler. Board, just to clarify, we are voting on item number 3.03. We will be going back to item 3.02. So without any further discussion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Welcome, if you're watching.
Congratulations, Mr. Ott.
Dr. Pace.
One more, and now if I could invite Mr. Melvin to come back to the podium. Board, I am pleased to recommend for the assistant principal at Osceola Technical College St. Cloud campus, Mr. Shannon Melvin. During his career, Shannon Melvin has held the following positions: band director at St. Cloud Middle, teacher at Thacker Avenue Elementary, teacher at Neptune Elementary, and Dean of Students at the Technical Education Center Osceola, both at St. Cloud when the school opened over there, as well as now currently at the main campus. He received his bachelor's degree in music education from the University of South Florida and a master's degree in educational leadership from the American College of Education, and this is going to really strengthen Mr. Ott's team in every way.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I've got a motion by Mr. Soto, a second by Mr. Thacker. Board, any discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Melvin, welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations, I guess. You're already here.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Dr. Pace. Thank you, staff. I want to introduce you to my beautiful wife, Michelle. Some of you may know her as the music teacher at Harmony Community. And my youngest son, Zachary, a junior at University of Central Florida, studying a little bit of everything right now, economics and a couple other things. My oldest son's not able to be with us. He's actually up at UCF. He's also a junior. He's a philosophy major.
Great.
I do want to recognize my parents back here, Mom and Dad. Thank you for your support along the way. They're back there.
Yep.
The OTEC team, Kim and Karen, thank you guys for your support. Tom over here, Tom, thank you for all you've done. Tom's been a great support over there for us. And Maggie back behind us at PATHS. So thank you guys for all that you've done, and look forward to just stepping it up out there. You know, our motto for Osceola Technical College is every student future ready, and we're going to keep that out in front of us and endeavor to promote that all around in St. Cloud and throughout the county. So again, thank you.
Great. Thank you both for your service to the
Congratulations.
students of
Thank you.
Osceola. I know how great a music teacher Miss Melvin is because all my kids have it. All right, we've come to our public comment section of the meeting tonight. If you'd like to clear out, please take the time to do so. We do have an exciting agenda if you would like to stay. No, nobody? No takers? All right.
Before Mr. Booth became chairman, people used to like to stay.
They did, yeah. All right. Okay, I think we're good. First, if you would, by the way, like to make a public comment and you're here and you haven't already done so, please fill out one of these yellow forms. They're located on the back table and bring it up here to Miss Tanya over to my right. And you can do that. Just because you didn't fill one out before the meeting started, we will still accept them. So first I have Miss April Jackson. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes. Have you ever done this before, Ms. Jackson?
Never, never. I'm new. April Jackson, 722 Malbert Street, Kissimmee, Florida. A previous journalism instructor from Osceola High School. Taught both yearbook and newspaper.
And intensive reading.
And intensive reading. Several of my students are now working in the profession. So we have very successful programs throughout the district. But what I wanted to talk to you tonight, and Dr. Pace is well aware of this, is I've secured 10,000 books that we're going to be distributing to our students that have come in from Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, due to the hurricanes. I need help transporting 9 pallets of books to the schools so we can distribute them. But this is working in conjunction with the American Federation of Teachers and Osceola County Education Association. Every time I speak at a state meeting or a national meeting, I bring up the fact that we've had almost 2,600 students enroll in our schools since the hurricanes, and that we need as much help as possible. The American Federation of Teachers and First Books stepped up, and we're willing to give us 10,000 books to give to these children. While we're not going to distribute all 10,000 to the students, the teachers will be able to have some of the books in their classrooms. And Dr. Pace and her staff are giving us a list of the schools that have had the greatest enrollment. And we're looking at the elementary schools and the middle schools, and we'll be distributing those books in the next few days. And I just found out today that I have to pick them up by Friday. So help.
From where?
I don't think they're going to fit in my truck. A warehouse in Orlando. Somewhere in South Orlando. They told me they didn't give me an exact address, and I kind of chewed on them because I said, if you expect me to pick them up, I have to know where they are.
Hey, can we help April get?
Mr. Clark and Michelle Jarrett are going to be
They're
working in
working with me, yes.
partnership with April and her team to get those things
We were
picked up
hoping it
and
would be
distributed.
next week, but they just called at 4:30 today and said we need to pick them up by Friday. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Next, I have a Mr. Marcus Crawford Guy. If you are a minor, Mr. Guy, I don't believe you have to state your address.
Oh, I'm not a minor.
Okay.
But I appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Please state your name and address for the record.
Marcus Crawford Guy, 219 West 121st Street, New York, New York. I'm here representing the Road to College program, which is part of a larger grant that I believe the district was offered through the Dr. Phillips Charities. We're in the county this week working with kids with musical theatre aspirations. Part of my role in the project is to hire teaching artists who can give the students a realistic look at what their career path might be if they have creative aspirations. I'm a professional actor working in New York, but I spend most of my time auditioning, and auditioning does not pay the bills. So what we're doing is giving the students a realistic look at what life at college would be like in these creative paths, and then a realistic look at what the road after that might be like. So that when students are in their senior years, maybe they can be more considerate and tactful when they look to the kind of college programs that they might want to apply to. I was fortunate to go to Juilliard, but that's not a realistic aspiration for everyone. There just aren't enough places, and there just isn't enough money. So it's an honor to work in this district, and I have had the pleasure of being in and out for the past 7 years since I started college. and it's great to be a part of these young people's lives. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Scottish?
Yes.
I know my accents.
That was the plan.
Thank you for coming forward. We do appreciate it. Board, we've come to, any more public comments? Anybody? Okay. Board, we have come to our agenda modifications. Mr. Wheeler?
Yeah, under board member comments, I want to talk about guns in schools. That's all I got.
Okay, Mr. Soto?
I have none.
I don't have any. Mr. Thacker? Mr. Weisser? None. Dr. Pace? We just need to read that into the record. So we will be adding 2 blue sheeted items tonight. Item number 14.03 under the irregular agenda facilities for mitigation agreement for Harmony Middle School project, and then item 15.01 under the attorney report for the Neo City land agreement.
Move for approval of the agenda and the consent agenda with the additional 2 blue sheeted items.
Second.
And the board member comment by Joe.
We got that's on the agenda.
Gotcha.
So,
And we have a second by Mr. Weisser. So motion by Mr. Thacker, second by Mr. Weisser. Board, any discussion? All right, call for a vote. All those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. So, board. That brings us to our information items. I believe the monthly business advisory board meeting minutes are in the record for you to see. That brings us to our information on health and life insurance trust report. Mr. DeWard.
Which we reviewed in the workshop,
That's what we reviewed in the workshop, so we're not going to do that here.
both items, 13.
Gotcha. Wait, but Kelvin wasn't there, so Kelvin, would you like to? Would you? Okay. All right. So, gotcha. Yes.
I'll demur.
After we adjourn, you can have that. So that brings us to number 14, our regular facilities items
Mr.
board.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve items 14.02 to 14.04. I've got to abstain from 14.01. For the reason my daughter works for Gilbane Construction. I'll file the appropriate paperwork.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I got lost.
So
I made a motion for 02 to 03 and 04?
Correct.
04 is just to approve L3, so it'd be
Yeah.
just a
Oh, I'm
motion to
sorry.
approve
Yeah,
02
yeah.
and
So I got to
03.
approve 14.02 and 14.03.
I'll move for
Well,
approval, or second that.
hold on just a second. Just for our secretary's sake over here, our board, let's just go in order, and we'll get this knocked out the right
I
way.
move for approval of 14.01.
Okay.
Second.
So we have a motion for approval by Mr. Thacker, a second by Mr. Weissayer, and we will have one abstention here. Board, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries 4-0 with Mr. Wheeler's abstention.
I'll make a motion to approve item 1402 and 1403.
Second.
Okay. So we have Mr. Thacker making a motion for 14.02 and 14.03. A second by Mr. Wheeler. Board, any discussion?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, let me,
Okay.
just one quick point. 1403, based on some of the stuff they're doing at Harmony right now, we're kind of approving it as a contingency.
Correct.
If they stumble, just so they don't have to come back and, you don't have to wait for us for 2 weeks. So while it's an approval to do it, they will only do it if they have to.
Gotcha.
That's my
Yep.
understanding.
No, that was my understanding. Thank you, Mr. Kruppenbach, for explaining that earlier. So any further discussion? Call for a vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. That brings us to our attorney's report. Mr. Kruppenbach.
You have a Neo City agreement, which the county has approved. It will provide us the opportunity to build the Neo City High School at the Neo City site. They removed, at our request, the reverter provision that said if we ever abandoned it, it would go back to the county to, if we decided to no longer use it as a school facility or a facility for the school district, they pay them for the property and take ownership of it, or let it revert back.
So we do either.
We could do either at that point. We don't anticipate ever not using it for the school district, so it's
Sure.
somewhat of a moot issue, but they wanted to protect themselves.
Sure.
In that. One thing I wanted to just clarify with them, which I'll do in a letter, is I am interpreting the agreement. This was walked on to the county. I mean, this was like at the 11th hour, that the value we would pay is the value of the property at the time, less the improvements we spent to the property. I mean, I wouldn't want to pay twice for it. So, but we can do that in a cover letter back with the signed document. So we're set to go on Neo City.
Are we?
Well, we are. We are, as of right now, we are, and we've got, I'm counting the days. We don't seem to have anybody opposing us.
Gotcha.
On a critical issue, although we are tied up in some other things. So
I understand.
Who knows what goes on with that crew.
I understand. Talking about Tallahassee, just kind of off. So, board, is that all, Mr. Grumble?
It's all on Neo City.
Okay. Can we go ahead and make the
Yes, I have
vote?
one
So,
other.
board, what is your pleasure on item 15.01?
I'll make a motion to approve. Discussion.
Okay. Mr. Wheeler?
First off, I want to thank first Mr. Kruppenbacher, Dr. Pace, for your work on this. I want to thank the entire county commission, though, for their cooperation, and Mr. Fisher also. This is just goes to show how well we do collaborate in Osceola County. A lot of people will benefit from this, and we're giving kids big dreams. That's what this is all about. So I appreciate everybody's hard work on this. This is going to be a great school, and I don't see him here, so Mr. Meacham, we expect big things from you.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler.
So, Board, just so you know, I was hesitating on this. I'm just trying to find, Frank, do me a favor. Restate what you said about the valuation and the fee. I want to make sure I'm tracking with you on
At the
this.
time, we would no longer, if we opted to say we're not using this site anymore for the school system, we would pay the county for the property, and we could do whatever we wanted with it to dispose of it. What I want to clarify is, we're not going to double pay, meaning if we put
Right,
in
I
the
track on
effort-
that part.
much like the St. Cloud issue.
Right.
We talked
Yeah.
about that same thing, and I just want to clarify that in the letter to him. I don't envision any issue with him. Don's been, the relationship between the superintendent and the county manager and the board and the county commissioners is really excellent. So they originally had, Tim, that if we decided to no longer use it, it automatically reverted back. And I was like, no, we're not reverting back an asset we improved.
Okay. I'm just trying to find the language. So is that language in this document, or you're saying that'll take place?
I'm going to do a cover letter that says, based upon my discussions, let me confirm, if this event ever happens, we are paying the value of the land at the time, but not the value of the land as improved. I mean, you can't value it with, we're buying back our building. Is that?
No, I follow all of that. That is not articulated in this
It's not
document.
articulated clearly enough for me, and I want to do that in a letter and tell them, yes.
I think this is the attachment doesn't have that item, because there was a D under 2, Frank, on page 2 of 8.
Right.
There's supposed to be a letter D.
And while Mr. Kruppenbacher is looking for that, also, I think in the letter, we should amplify any references to the Beaumont property, perhaps.
No, Mark, please, no. We're not, that's got nothing to do with this issue, and it's going to complicate getting this issue done. And so we're sticking with the agreement. Deborah?
I'm looking at the original packet.
And I'm going to the...
And I'm looking at the one that was emailed to us earlier. Frank, let me ask one
Yes.
additional question. Would that valuation, and I just want to make sure I'm understanding this, would that valuation be based upon today's value or the value at the time that we would no longer utilize that piece of real estate?
I interpreted what they said with me at the time we no longer used the real estate.
So, oof.
Without the improvements.
That's what my position would be. We're not going to pay for what we...
I fully agree with you on that point. Here would be my problem is
I would tell you
the land
this,
value today
never
is
abandon this property.
well understood.
As you're growing, so it should never be an issue.
Yeah, I won't be here when that happens. The land value today is significantly less than what the proposed land value would be 25 years from now. And my concern is that if we don't identify that the valuation is based at the time of transfer and that we identify what the proposed value of it is now, my concern is that in 20, 30, 40 years, whatever that time is, if that time ever comes, that we may be paying the appreciated value of that real estate, not the current value of that real estate, which could be a significant delta.
What would we,
Yeah, what
tell
would
me
happen
what
to
we
make
would
us
spend,
pay it?
why would we buy that property if we're no longer using it?
Yeah.
Well, if we no longer, I mean, if for some reason, think about what we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago with Rossi Jeffries. If for some reason we decided we didn't need to utilize it anymore as a school and we decided to sell that piece of real estate, right, then at that point in time we would be required to pay the county the current value of the underlying real estate, the real property, less the improvements and less the capital infrastructure that we've put in place.
What if we use the
Am I
property-
correct?
Well, to your point, Tim, before we go, what if we use the property, to your point, Tim, like Ross Jeffries, where it's a school now, but then we find out we need it for admin, or special education.
We didn't use it for school education purposes.
Okay.
So the only,
Me, anything we
we're
need
talking
to
about
use it
having to
for
buy
school
back the
district
property
would
that.
cover.
Oh, okay, that's-
Have decided we're not using anymore.
Buying back property that we're paying for.
So if we abandon.
I find, candidly, I find it, I understood the assistant county attorney wanting to secure against the, like, we just walked away from it and it reverts back to them and we sold it to somebody they didn't want and it was a huge problem. My personal opinion, I understand the percent, but it's a moot issue because when I talk with Dr. Pay, we can contemplate any way we, as a growing district, we would never need that facility to continue to operate in some capacity for this district.
So let me offer a couple of points. When we negotiated the property in Point Siena for the expansion of TICO, one of the things that we were intentional about incorporating into that agreement was that it didn't have to be solely used for TICO, but if it was continued to be used by the school district for any type of ancillary education service, and that could be offices, admin,
That's us.
could be classrooms, whatever, right. I would want that same type of language to be clarified in whatever this memorandum that you're going to create between you and the county attorney is. Because, again, I don't necessarily think that there's going to be a time, anytime in our near future, that this is going to be an issue. But if for some reason down the road we say, hey, that facility is no longer going to serve the needs of Neo City Academy, and we're going to turn that into an administrative building and instead do another campus in Neo City on a different piece of real estate, I would want to make sure that that language clarifies that it's still being used by the school district, and so that reverter clause or that cost factor doesn't kick in. The second part would be, I think it would be appropriate to place a current valuation on the property, since this is a time that we're receiving, and saying at the time comes 30, 40, 50, 80 years from now that we're no longer using it at all and we're going to sell it, that we would pay the county the value of the property at the time that we actually receive the value of the property, today, a week from now.
I think if I'm on their side, they're going to push back and say, wait a second, we lost the use of that property by conveying it to you. And if you claim over all the years that you then recoup all of the money for the increase in value, I can see them coming at us the way we'd come at them on that issue.
I understand. I would say that you didn't lose the use of the property. You got an incredible partner in the community that's helping ultimately accomplish your desire and your goal for Neo City. that school is going to be a major draw for employment and residential development within that community, is my opinion. So, Frank, here's my question, because I don't want to belabor the point. Approving this tonight, which I don't necessarily have heartburn over this document itself, I'm just wanting to make sure that what this additional memorandum that you're going to work on addresses some of these items. And are you comfortable that if we adopt this as it is tonight, that there's still opportunity to deal with some of these issues, or are you saying no?
I'm about to tell you how I'd like the motion to be, that you are adopting this with the understanding that we will clarify these issues prior to transmitting the executed copy back for full execution.
Okay.
Right.
And
Gives us the, let's just move it along and get it done without, and the issues that I see are, one, all right, I believe in the agreement we have the right to use it for anything we want to use it for the Osceola school districts. But settling in on, okay, if for some reason we decided we never wanted to use it anymore, county, why don't you put in the provision, you buy it back from us at the fair market value at that time, or we'd like it to be, we'll pay the value of it less the improvements we made to it.
And this is the document that you forwarded to me today.
That was a mouthful. Well, that-
No, I know, we've been going back and forth, and Deborah, I think we pretty much caught all of it in the agreement, the final one, but Tim will just double and triple check it where it goes.
Thank you, Frank. Deborah, are you tracking with me?
Yes, sir.
Everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Board, do you agree with me on this, or am I alone on this one?
I agree.
Yeah, I'm good. I agree from a perspective of the value of the property.
It's always going to make sense that we try to leverage for the benefit of the school district. It's that simple.
It's our job.
It's a job.
Yeah, and additionally, to ensure that there's clarity so that in 5 decades from now, a future school board's not trying to figure out what we agreed to and what the valuation really is and what we do or don't owe.
There will be any, because there'll be 2 other lawyers over here arguing.
Five lawyers to
by then. Okay, so Chairman, obviously I speak in favor of the motion of this with the clarification of what I've expressed with Mr. Kruppenbacher. I don't know if you need us to try to walk through and restate that.
I think we're going to have
there's
to either amend the motion or restate the motion.
I'll amend my motion to include
the comments that I put in the record about the authority to clarify that issue and withhold returning to the county the executed document until we have confirmation of that clarification.
That's my amended motion.
The second is okay? Okay. So
Thank
board.
you, Frank.
Thank you, Mr. Weisser. The original motion, which has been amended, has been by Mr. Wheeler, seconded by Mr. Thacker. Tony, did you write everything down that Frank said?
Bravo.
Good. So board, is there any further discussion on topic? We will then call for a vote. All those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Krumpenbacher, do you have anything else under your?
Yes, I just wanted to update you on the mineral rights issue. Just so you know, let me make sure everybody's following what's occurred here. We are conveying a conservation easement to the South Florida Water Management District in lieu of paying roughly a $500,000 fee for credits. The 2 issues have surfaced. One was the mineral rights. Well, that was raised by the title company, but the title insurance company, which checks whether or not there's any encumbrance or lien on the property, issued title insurance saying there is none. So when it got raised by the issue of, well, wait a second, there's this mineral rights thing, we went back and tracked through. We spoke to Harmony, we spoke to all the property conveyors, et cetera. First issue I'll point out to you, there's like a $2,000 fee to release that mineral rights if it even existed, right, in the old agreements. it was extinguished, all right? So it's just not an issue. Second issue that's been raised by staff to me, Rhonda raised to me, is that in the easement to be given to South Florida, in their agreement, they have a standard provision for a 5-year period. We will maintain the property, and we have an obligation to remove invasive species if they enter the property. They won't, that's their standard language in every one of their, they will not budge on that issue, all right? So.
Sounds like a great Harmony FFA project, ongoing project. Go spray soda apples.
We've been in conversations. Now, the other thing is, if ever there was so many cooks in the kitchen, this is one of those that we have gotten everybody on board with. Here's where we're at. South Florida's getting everything. I think it's Friday, Mark. The documents are going from our other. And
Can they get there quicker than Friday?
I'm just telling you, when staff said they would have them there, all right? They're getting, the title insurance has been reissued in their name. There should be no issue, and I will tell you, as a business person, there's little or no risk on the invasive species issue. So you get a python, and we got to go in there and get rid of the python, all right? But you have to, you can't just dump it on them and let it become a cesspool. The key will be, once South Florida gets it, and I asked Rhonda today, Rhonda, we need to know the minute it is, don't mail it, the minute it is handed to South Florida, because we then got to swing the other way and drive the politics down. Staff process this not in accordance with your standard processing, which could be another umpteen months. But this has to be expedited. So everybody's teed up to do what they're supposed to do, and if everybody does it, the only impediment could be, at this point, from South Florida. And the reason we kept the option open was there comes to a point at which it'll cost us more than contributing, than paying the fee if we get delayed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
We are, past March 20th, we will be at a point of potential need to accelerate the project.
You're the point person on accelerating with South
Yes,
Florida
in
and
fact,
Rise?
I'm going to be sending Tanya an email with the members of the South Florida, appointments to the South Florida Water Management District Board. And if any of you know any of them, if you would call me. But this is a time where time is of the essence, and we just got to cut right to the quick and make sure we do what we can to get it through. Yeah,
As soon as I know.
so that's where we're at on that, and
And by doing this, we saved this $500,000 that we
Yes.
approved.
yes.
So that we ultimately
Yeah,
do not have
exactly,
to
and,
spend.
and Mark and I talked about it. I just don't want to see a governmental bureaucracy be the reason we have to write a $500,000 check, all right? So,
That's never happened before.
we just are doing, we've got our end in line now. It's getting it down there and getting it, but I don't want it, Mark, remember to tell Ron, I don't want it mailed, have somebody drive it down and hand it to him.
And keep in mind what Frank said, if he gets us the list of names from South Florida Water Management, with our network, maybe we don't know some, but within 1 or 2 degrees of separation, we probably do know someone who knows.
Here's the thing. Every major developer in this county has had to deal with them. And probably has, and this is one time where our partners can really step up and help us.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Krummebacher. Thank you. Board, is there any questions? for Mr. Krummebacher? Dr. Pace, Superintendent's update.
Just a couple of reminders. Next week on Wednesday, February the 28th, we are hosting the Osceola Leaders at Rick's Cafe at noon. If for any reason you'd like to come, I look forward to seeing Mr. Booth there with the rest of the group. We also have our safety and security meeting next Thursday, March the 1st at 5:30 here in the boardroom. Remember that this is a closed meeting with local law enforcement officials as well as elected officials to discuss our security plans. And then finally, I hope everybody's been exercising. Saturday, March the 3rd at 9 a.m., we have our Wellness 5K event at the Center for Employee Health, and I hope to see all of you there in your shorts and sneakers.
I'll be coaching a baseball game, but if you need me to come drive a golf cart and cheer everybody on, I'll certainly.
And I'm just starting to walk without a cane. So
What time is it?
9 o'clock, March the 3rd.
I'll be at Dunkin' Donuts.
But Mr. Krummenbacher has a question for Dr. Pace.
You mean I only have like a week and 3 days to get ready?
That would be correct.
Mr. Soto, which lawyer is faster? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, there's the challenge.
I don't want Jay to be the only one missing out.
More billable hours and being slow.
So, board that, Dr. Pace, is that good?
Dr. Fox,
Covering for us.
So we will move on to the only thing left on the agenda here I see is under board member comments was placed earlier was Mr. Wheeler.
Before I get started on that, I want to just address something Dr. Pace said. For the March 1st meeting, I plan on attending. I land at 4:30, so I'm going to come straight from the airport to here, so I'll get here.
Dr. Pace, could we move the meeting up to 3:30? Thank you.
Second.
Bada bing, bada boom. Board, there is a certain, for better or worse, responsibility that comes with being elected as long as I am, and also not running for re-election allows you to say pretty much whatever you want, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
That's debatable.
The recent shootings in Broward County at their high school was horrible, and it was just chilling. Meanwhile, guns are as much a part of America as baseball, apple pie, the NFL, and it's not going to go away. I mean, but with that said, there's been a lot of collateral damage as a result of a lot of crazies with guns, unfortunately. And, you look at what the founding fathers said, people have a right to bear arms. Well, they didn't say the right should be for free necessarily. And there's an old saying, freedom's not free. And you look at the way we manage a lot of other things. If you or I decide to go out and buy a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, our insurance is going to cost more money because of that. If we decide, if we're 16 or 17 or below 21 and buy one, our insurance is going to be even more. And those insurance fees are to pay for things as a result of that. It's risk management. Similarly, you've got a gas tax right now, which pays for roads. You've got a cigarette tax, which pays for informing people about the dangers of cigarettes. And we look at what we need greater security is what we need. But everything's got to be paid for. People talk about mental health. We need more mental health counselors and deal with the ramifications that happen from things like these, but the pool of money is not getting any bigger. So what I would suggest is we got to start being practical. Just like there's fees, you stay in a hotel, there's a bed fee. We need to start collecting some sort of a tax or fees as guns are sold, bullets are sold, not necessarily registering them, but when there's a transaction, just like we stay in a hotel, freedom isn't necessarily free. And there's a lot of good, responsible people out there who engage in using firearms, and God bless them, or own them. Meanwhile, there are some nuts. I mean, not just in schools. Look at what Dylan Roof did. Look at what happened in Las Vegas. And it's becoming, every month there's 2 or 3 incidences. And, it's horrible that it's happening in schools and that we've got kids dying, but we can't do business as usual. Even the president says we got to do a better job with mental health. Well, how are you going to pay for it? We've got to start developing some sort of a source of revenue and let people have whatever they want for firearms, but it shouldn't be free. There should be a transaction fee with every weapon. There should be a bullet tax also. We've got to start generating the money to pay for the risks associated with it. And I don't want to take anything away from anybody, but again, freedom's not free. You want to buy a car, you got to pay for it. You want to engage in an unhealthy lifestyle, you're going to pay more for health insurance. Here's one of these things that we need to find a way to fund the things law enforcement needs. We had a situation here recently where we had a gentleman who was Baker acted with a gun. And then if law enforcement was allowed to, while that person was incarcerated, or kept put away, go in and confiscate their weapons. We had 2 cops who were shot that probably would be here now. And I appreciate that America loves its guns, but we love our people, and it's time to start creating a source of revenue to pay for the risks and the things we need to support it, to pay for our law enforcement. I'd like to see more law enforcement in our schools. I'd like to see more mental health counselors who can handle this, but there isn't the money for it, so we've got to create this pot of revenue. And I don't know, I'm not an expert on a lot of this stuff. I got 67,000 kids in this school district. I got 8,000 employees. I want to protect them, but we got to start thinking as Americans, what we're doing now is not working. We got to change something. And if I didn't say something, I'd have felt irresponsible. I speak for myself. I don't speak for the school board. I don't speak for the school district. But I've been elected 4 times. I'm in my 4th term. And if I say nothing, then I'm complicit. And that's all I really got to say about this. Thank you for the indulgence, and I'm done.
Mr. Soto, do you have anything? Mr. Thacker?
I do not.
Wesher? All right, we do not stand adjourned. We are in recess because we do, board, have an executive session upstairs. So we are in recess. We will come back down to adjourn the meeting at the conclusion of that executive session, yes. But for everybody else, for all intents and purposes, we're done.